Hi, welcome to week 2. This is Therapy Thursdays via Epic Consulting. My name is Leti Garza. This is a continuation of conversations that I want to be able to have in a live streaming platform to be able to reach as many people as possible, all of the people. Um, and we're continuing in June for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and this week's conversation has to do with fatherhood. And so there's going to be a couple people coming on. I know I'm not the best person to be having this conversation, but I decided, who cares? Because I want to do it. And if you want to listen, that's cool. And if you don't, then don't listen. I don't care. All right. So I'm going to bring on these two amazing men who are also fathers, and we're going to start the conversation. Get ready. Oh, there you guys are. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm gonna have you guys. I feel like I haven't seen either of you for so long. Introduce yourselves, and I think because of our topic, maybe how many children, and then if you want to share genders or names, and then maybe why you decided that this might be a good conversation to have in public.
In public, yes.
All right.
Public.
Keith, why don't you go first?
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Keith Woolrich, and I am the proud father of 4 amazing young women from the ages of, I believe they'll be turning, mid-20s, late 20s here. And my oldest will be, I think, 27 or 28 or 27, yeah, in July. 24, 25, 26, and 21 here. So I'm at that stage of empty nester. Mm-hmm. No, they tell me what to do. I can no longer tell them what to do, or did they ever listen? But they are amazing young women. I'm so proud of 4 beautiful, smart, intelligent daughters. So they make their dad very, very proud. So that's just a little bit about me and my household.
Amazing. So this is perfect because London, why don't you share your information?
So yes, I am London McBride. I have 5 boys. Yes, 5 boys. Ranging from age. Let's see. My oldest is 20. So 20, 18, 16, 15, and 10. And it's crazy. Two in college. One's about to be a senior. One's about to be a sophomore, and the other one is going to be in 5th grade. So it is pure chaos around the house. Like my new job is protecting the fridge. That's pretty much it. And goodness, I'm glad they take care of their mama. But like I said, y'all can do whatever y'all have to do with me. Y'all push me out in the front yard and just water me, but take care of your mama. So, but they are great guys. They're all, with the exception of the 5th grader, or the soon to be 5th grader, they are all taller than me. And it's crazy. Yeah, I think maybe my 16 and 15-year-old, they pretty much edging me out on height, but they walk around, chest all out, walking around the house. I'm like, okay, so what? You're taller. Yeah. But yeah, those are my guys. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so who wants to talk first about when this fatherhood title, when it hit you? Was it like pregnancy? Was it when you were told? Was it babies born? Like what was this like fatherhood? What did you think it was before you actually had kids? And then what did it really morph into, or what has it become? Whoever wants to go first.
Frat, you want to go?
Yeah, okay. I'll give it a swing. It's wild because I don't know, like when my wife told me she was pregnant, I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, this is awesome. I was excited, but it was something different. Like when Nolan, who's my firstborn, when he was born, it was the wildest thing. Like I don't know. Like I guess I could say I never thought that I could love someone the way that I love my kids. Like I just never that it just never crossed my mind. Like my wife, yeah, I love her, but seeing those guys and like them growing up and where they are now, it was like, yeah, this is crazy. Fatherhood is crazy, and just trying to navigate to what does it look like to them to be a good dad. Um, has been, I guess, since I've stepped into fatherhood has always been my my goal or my is to is to is for them to say, you know what, my dad was a good dad. Like he did his best, so yeah, it's weird. It's like I think it's levels. It's just yeah.
But what I'm sorry, but so was there an idea that you had before that you thought, oh, that's not quite what I think it's supposed to be?
I didn't know, because I mean, all you know is what you were raised with.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like my dad, my grandpa, like stuff like that. I thought I knew what it meant to be a father. Like it's like, okay, I'm the man of the house. I'm gonna be tough. Or they do something, they step out of line. I'm gonna have to do this, and then they do something. The first time they do something, you're like, yeah, I can't approach it this way. And the all five of them have different personalities, and you have to approach them the way that they need it, not in the way that there's no one size fits all when it comes to your kids. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Some take the hammer, some you got to have a scalpel, some you got to bribe with candy, so it's different. It's just totally different. So I think I'm still learning how to be, how to be a good dad.
That makes sense.
It's interesting you said that, because I have 4 daughters. So when holding my eldest, it just melted me. Like, oh my God, I'm responsible now for this human being. And immediately, Lenny, you can probably relate, you go into a provide and protect mindset.
Yeah.
Right? You literally go into it. And then when my second one, when she was born, it really started to, oh my goodness, this apartment's getting too small. Then when the third one came along, like, oh, we're out of room, right? You're out of room. And so it was overwhelming for me at first. Because I was raised with a good dad. I mean, my dad was amazing. And I'm like, man, how am I going to follow in this guy's footsteps, right? And I saw my dad's struggles, because unfortunately, he wasn't raised by his dad. My grandpa did not raise my father. So some of that got transmuted down to me. So like, oh my God, am I going to be able? Am I going to carry some of these bad habits on? You know what I'm saying? So it was overwhelming for me at first. And then when the fourth one came along, I said, well, we're done trying for the boy. I guess it just ain't in me. So we're just going to let that go. You know what I'm saying? But there was just overwhelming feeling that I'm in charge of 4 young lives, 4 females that, we've all heard about the shotgun at the door. Yeah, because we know, London, how some of these dudes are out here, right? And
Yep.
And now that they're young women, all of them in their 20s, I still have that provide and protect, because now the stakes are higher, because I don't want them coming across some fool out there in the street. You know what I'm saying? So it's that protection is really on me right now. We'll talk about the stages from when they were 5 and 4, and I go get Barbie dolls. Now they want Coach purses for Christmas. So that's a whole other conversation. that we could have on how their tastes change over the years, right? But it was overwhelming. It was a great feeling. I was privileged, but that provide and protect, I can't get rid of it.
Mhm.
I can't get rid, especially having 4 wonderful daughters that I've been blessed with.
Yeah.
So that's actually this idea, this transitional, like the phases that we go through as parents. We all do this, but I want specifically to hear about. Obviously, I can tell you all the things as a mom, but as a father, what have you identified? Like, oh, that phase is over, or that era is now over, and I'm moving into this. So what were they? Can you like identify them and then kind of like help us like describe what those were?
For me, because now my daughters are in their mid-20s and out of the house,
Mhm.
it went from telling them what to do because they were in under my roof, right, to now coaching them, giving them options. Because now our conversations are like, baby, you got 3 or 4 options. They can always be my baby. So that they all, you know what I'm saying? So I'm now in more of a coach consulting role instead of telling and do role. I think my oldest is 20, should be 27 or 28 this year. And it's like she's living out of the house. She's been living on her own a while, and she's got her first real job. So to talk about what's going on in corporate America with her and things of that nature, it's interesting because I can draw on my experience, but I don't tell her what to do now. It's more of a consultative role. It's more of a coaching role. It's more of showing her options. And that's where I am right now, especially when they get to their 20s, they move away, they go to college, they start coming around different people, and you're hoping that the impact and the influence you had on them when they were 5 and 7 and 9 and 12 and 15, that it sticks. And I can say this, it does, believe it or not. It does stick. You know, we don't think they're listening, but they're listening, right? Or I hear, Dad, I remember when you used to say, now I know what you mean. you know, so
Yeah.
brother, just pour the wisdom you have because they won't forget. Sometimes you think they forget, but they don't forget. So I've gone from telling, then I try to model. Now it's about modeling and consulting and coaching. Say, babies, here are your options. We're a family of faith. You know, which one of these coincides in what we believe as a family? And then I have to let them and trust their own decision. Sometimes I have to watch them hit their head, stub their toe, and that provide and protect when we want to go grab my babies. But sometimes I have to say, nah, honey, this one you got to live with. You know, and it's harder. I think it's harder at this age because I know the ramifications are different.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
London, do you feel like there's I mean, a lot of the stuff is going to be the same, but having
No, I mean, yeah, Keith said it, but I think, you know, true, it is true. Like having boys, I think the phases are all the same, just like Keith was saying, like what we as fathers go through and like the positions that we end up taking as they get older. But yeah, I think the only like the phase that I realize with boys is that they get to that phase where they feel like they are the man and they don't have to listen. And that's where you that's where it seems like you bump heads because you still want to be the provider, the protector, you still want to hug them, you trying to grab these big old dudes and give them hugs and stuff like that, and they're like, oh man, chill. But you know, I think what I've seen in my guys is that because that's always been a part of our family. Like we always, when we come in the house or when we leave, we always give a hug and a kiss to each other. Like they continue to do it. You know, these big grown men, you know, will see me and grab me, give me a hug and give me a kiss. And it's something that I never thought, you know, could be accomplished because I thought about myself growing up and it was just like, okay, my dad is my dad. It was cool when I was little, but now he this man trying to tell me what to do. And, you know, and I know my boys kind of feel like that sometimes, but I think what's different now is I have those conversations. And just like you said, I went from, you know, the the daddy that's just kind of swooping them up, to now I'm that coach, I'm that mentor, I'm the person that has to model the behavior that I want them to emulate out there in the world. So it is different now. It's just like, I tell them something and I was like, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this? Especially the older ones, it's more me being a consultant, or, that mentor or coach to them. The younger ones, yeah, I'm still like, hey man, y'all better do your chores. Like y'all got stuff, y'all got stuff to do. But the older ones, I mean, even though, they're at home right now, but getting ready to take off. It's I think every time is that life lesson, and that's what I've learned with the older ones. Even when they're there, and it's just like, hey, you're under my roof, my rules, and they listen, but they kind of get like, I'm gonna see how if I can toe the line on this one, and then you check them, but it's more now like, hey, if you was out like on your own and you had a job, and your supervisor or superior told you to do something and you just waited till the last minute to do it, or you showed up right on time instead of early, like, do you know how that looks, how that makes you look as a person and as an employee? Do you think that you're trustworthy in doing? So now my lessons become like that for them. So now it's just like, oh, if I keep doing this, then like I can't just quickly break this habit. I was like, no, because these habits that you have, these choices become habits, and habits become lifestyles. And so that's what I want them to understand. And by showing them, hey, you got to make better choices so that you don't develop bad habits, which ends up creating a lifestyle that could be detrimental. So with the guys, I think that's pretty much how I've been approaching a lot of the things now. And, we have our check-ins where it's like, hey man, you mad at dad because I had to get on you for that? And they're like, no, we totally understand. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's funny you said that, London, because since my girls moved out of the house when they were at college, daddy's gonna be nosy. So I would have the Sunday night check-in. You know what I mean? That I'll text them, how you doing? What's going on? And you get about a 75% response. But that's still that protection that, all right. And I have one that lives clear across the country. They're in all parts. You know what I'm saying? So it was that still that Sunday night check-in, that baby, how you doing? Do you need anything? Do you need any help? I don't think it ever goes away, because my mama would do that to me now. Baby, I'm just checking in. I'm 57 years old. How you doing? Checking in on you. Said, man, that never goes away, because I had to ask my mom. I said, Mama, does it ever subside that you let them go? She says, boy, how often do I call you to check in on you? I'm like, I guess that never will go away. That never will go away. So, yeah, it's different, man, because now they're adults. I have to respect my daughters as young adults. They're not long little girls.
Yeah.
They range from, the baby will be 22 in this next month. So they're no longer those little girls. They are young women now. And for me, that is still hard to comprehend, that my babies are going to be mothers one of these days.
Yeah.
And I go, wow, where did that time go? You follow what I'm saying? You're like, man. So I would just say, enjoy them while you got them, because it's funny, London, once they go away to college, it's over with. I have my third one. Yeah, my 3 out of 4 have graduated. My fourth one will be done in about 2 years. It's like once you drop them off at them dorms, next thing you know, you at graduation. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But they mature and they grow while they're away too. Yeah. Amazing when they come back and you have a conversation like, wow.
Actual adulthood. Do you feel like you have done things differently than you anticipated? I know, London, you mentioned like we're constantly learning, obviously, all of us. I think because we're educators too, or we always lean towards that. Like you guys talk about mentoring and coaching. It just kind of comes naturally to some people. Do you feel like you've done things differently than you thought you might when things come up? Because you said something, London, about like the first time it seems like maybe I'm going to have to apply some discipline here, and then you don't quite know what the actual step is to do that. So, are
Yeah.
there things that have stood out that if you want to share, that you thought this is how
Yeah.
I thought I was going to handle it, but I actually did this other thing instead?
Yeah, it's wild. Like with my boys, I thought, because I grew up on whoopings and beatings. That's what I
Yep.
grew up on. I
Yep.
know
Yep.
y'all know the truth, but it was different with my boys, and what I realized with them is that because of and my wife has always said it was like because of the role that I was in, because of the profession that I was in,
Mm.
they looked at me as this like as this superhero who they didn't want to disappoint. And so I didn't have to raise a hand to them. It was just like it was more like, oh man, Dad, like we're sorry. Like we're sorry that we did that. Or like if I get upset and I'm yelling at them for something, it was like it was more like they understood, and then I understood how I needed to approach them. And I think too, just from the nature of my profession, just it was it's a profession that could be aggressive and just crazy at times. I didn't want to bring that. I never wanted to bring that into the house with the boys. So it was always a different way that I disciplined them. Even though I thought I was like, yeah, my son get out of line, he getting his behind whooped.
Mhm.
But it was totally different. I think the times that we actually did like spank them for anything, and I can probably count on like both hands all five of them, like which will total all five the times that we spanked them. It was because they did something that would have cost them their life, and that's where we said no. So it's better for you to get this warning than for you to lose your life.
Mhm.
And I think those are the times that I remember. And then I think those are the times that stood out to them. It was like, oh yeah, no, I remember that time you got me. And I was like, so what was it for? Oh, I did this. Oh yeah, that would have cost you your life, And so I think I never thought that I would, you know, I never thought that I would be that way. In the sense people would be like, man, you lenient, like you soft on your kids. I was like, no, I'm not. I think it was in those moments where they were disciplined that there was a lesson behind it. It wasn't because of frustration or anger or anything like that. There was a lesson. And in that lesson, their discipline, like through that discipline, they learned that lesson. They realized this was the reason why Dad did what he did, because he would rather me suffer this than the alternative, which would have been like serious pain or death. So
Mhm. Makes sense. Keith, what about you?
That's a great question, and I'm reflecting. London said something like, "How many times did I have to get to him?" And I think I only got to him like that with a spanking one time. I'm a yeller, unfortunately. You follow what I'm saying? I'm a yeller, but I don't think we ever had to do corporal punishment with my girls, if ever, because again, I had help too with my wife. I mean, she was more of a disciplinarian than I was. You know what I'm saying? She was more of a disciplinarian than I was. But it was a team effort. They knew the standards of the household. They knew what was acceptable, what wasn't acceptable. Now, are my girls perfect? Absolutely not. And I'm sure if they watch this, oh, we're glad we can tell Daddy about that one. Oh, he didn't know about that one. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I was blessed to have four wonderful young ladies. They conducted themselves as young ladies growing up. They were very respectful. I think one time I had to, I think my wife got to one of my daughters because she stole something out of a supermarket. She'll never do that again, right? That tongue lashing she got, I wouldn't want that one. You know what I'm saying? But I think, and the other ones saw that and watched that. So we were blessed, man. They did well in school. But to your point, London, they knew what the expectations were in the house. And the same way growing up, you know, I was corporately, you blink wrong in church or you move wrong, you finna get it, right? I grew up with you get it. So I think I nowhere near had that type of parental style. Now, again, like I said, I've been known to raise my voice, take something away, be frustrated, but they did not nearly get the spankings and the whippings I got when I was a child. So I think that's the major thing I did differently.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think intervened? Like, do you think there was something? Were you consciously thinking, I'm not going to do that, or beforehand, or was it in the moment you thought that's not the way to handle this? Like, how did you approach? Because especially, you know, being raised the way I think we're all agreeing that we were raised, it was a lot of frustration. It was just like, I can't believe you're doing this. It needs to stop immediately, and there was no conversation about it. So, did you have this for your spouses too? Like, did you guys talk about it ahead of time? Was it like a this is how we're going to parent, or did it just come up and then in the moment you had to decide, I'm not going to keep doing that thing? Like, what switched?
You know, I think it was a little bit of both. I think it was, you know, even before getting married, I was just like, I ain't doing this. Like, I will not like subject my kids to this. And getting married, my wife and I, like, you know, just like Keith said, he and his wife, like, we were just a team. Like, we did stuff together. There were times, you know, where I was like, she could tell I was probably visibly frustrated, and she would say, like, go talk to him. Like, go talk to him. Like, just calm down, go talk to him. One of the rules that we have in our house is that even after they are, like, you know, we discipline them, you know, we talk to them, whatever it might have been, that we tell them that we love them, that we bring them in, that we hug them, that we cherish the moment, and we let them know that we love them. It's just like, you know, just like scripture always says, like, not letting the sun go down upon our anger, on our wrath, or anything like that. We want them to know that we care, and that what we're doing is because we love them. When we correct them, it's because we truly care. Like, I was just thinking about today, you know, having a conversation with my 16-year-old, and I knew he was frustrated. He was probably like, why is dad having this why is daddy telling me this? And then he gets it from mama as he getting dropped off from school. But it was something that really had to be, like, reiterated to him, because we didn't want it to become his downfall. And so, but after the conversation, you know, either he gets a call or a text, or, you know, hey, we love you. Like, never forget that. We love you. You know, and so I think it's just, I think it was an approach where I knew I didn't want to be that way. But then having a wife that agreed and wanted to do stuff differently than the way she was raised to, I think that helped.
Keith, did you guys have a conversation about that, or did it just like?
I just think it evolved. Again, you know, I was raised. I think I'm the first generation of my line not to do the corporate thing at the level that we all got it. You know what I'm saying? And I was working a lot too when they were younger. You know, and that was something I could do differently. I wouldn't have worked as much, if that makes any sense. What I'm saying, London. I worked a ton, man, and if I could go back and get some of those years back, I would have done differently. Man, I'd have did that differently, especially with young girls. I mean, because I was so focused on climbing the corporate ladder, making this money, making this impact. Again, that provide and protect mantra, right? So that if I could go back in time, because there were a few years there, man, Where did that? What happened to those? What happened to them? Right now, and I take ownership for that. That there's a major gap where I was just so focused on climbing the corporate ladder, man, that I didn't pay attention to them. And I'm blessed that nothing tragic happened. You know what I mean? That's why I'm blessed. I have a good spouse that she kept it together while I was doing my thing. So that is one of the regrets that I wish I'd have spent a little bit more. I paid more attention to them than I did, those banks and that and you all follow what I'm trying to say, because now they're in their 20s. Yeah. I can't go back when they're 7, 9, 13, and 15. Right? I can't go back. So that's just something I think I'm trying to make up for now as they get older.
It's wild you say that, Keith, because I feel the same way. I was having a conversation with my boys about that too. And like that is, I would have to say, yeah, that's my one regret too, just not being there like I wanted to. And I think that was another reason why I ended up leaving, leaving law enforcement, because I didn't feel like I was present as I could be. And, it was, I tell you, my boys are the ones that kind of convinced me to get out of the streets and up into an office. It was like everything after that. And it was me like sacrificing, trying to promote and stuff like that, just to stay out of that world, just so I can be more present with them. And I remember I like, it was, like I said, like you said, the regret, like it was probably about 6 months ago that I had brought that up again. And I'm so thankful, that, my guys are some really, really good guys, because I was talking about it and I was apologizing to them. And my oldest came around the corner and kind of pulled me aside like he was the dad. And he said, "Dad, there's nothing you need to apologize for. We know exactly why you weren't here all those times." And it was like, we were honored to be able to share you with the rest of the world, that you were out there trying to help. And it was like, never forget that. And I was like, boy, get away from me.
It's interesting. I kind of had the same experience, because we sacrifice as dads, right? A lot of people don't, but we do sacrifice this, financially, career stuff. And I have been driving the same car for 11 years while I'm trying to put these girls through school. It was becoming hoopty-esque. Follow what I'm saying? So I was thinking about buying this new car, and my wife was talking to my daughter, and they were talking about the car, and I was going to go get something less. And my daughter said, "Daddy," my wife put her on the speakerphone, "you deserve it. You sacrificed for us. It's your turn." Man, I almost had to pull over because I had all them tears in my eyes. I couldn't even drive back to the dealership.
It was dust. What are you talking about?
I was like, "Daddy, you sacrificed for us for years." And it broke me down. Man. It broke me. And then all of us said, "Daddy, get the car. You sacrificed for us. It's your turn. Blah, 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 blah." Man, I couldn't take it. Mm-hmm. I couldn't take it. So I get what you're talking about. She parented me. My girls parented me at that
time. Right. That's a testament to obviously to your dad's skills, because there are a lot of parents in general who don't have relationships with their children where they can have these kinds of conversations in the first place. But this idea that as fathers, because I hear you both leaning real hard into the idea that the expectation was there and you just accepted it from day one, right? This is what dads do, and I'm just going to do it. This is dad shit. I'm going to do it. This is what is expected, and I'm going to do it. And then years go by, and then you're like, but do I really have to do it that way? Like, can I still parent my kids and be there for my kids if I'm doing it in another way? And it took a while for both of you to realize that was an option. So part of it is a societal thing that we put on men who want to become fathers, providers, husbands, but specifically dads.
Well,
And
then
then
also, Letty, not to cut you short, being African American fathers, there's this stereotype.
yes,
I know you're probably gonna get there. There is this
I'm going like this.
stereotype
Mhm.
of the Black father that he isn't available,
Yes, let's talk about
Yeah.
it.
or he's
Yeah.
hyper. What's the word I'm looking for? Disciplinarian.
Yes.
That he's detached. And again, you, London, being in law enforcement, you've seen the homeless or the fatherless homes and the and the residue of that. And that was the one thing for me, even when I was going through some personal trials and trauma. I can't leave my kids. I mean, because my dad said his dad left him. And I remember when my family was growing up, the trials and traumas we had, my dad stayed. So that was my exemplar. That was my example. So even when I was going through my trouble, my trauma, my pain, you know how it is when you get frustrated, man. But I said, I can't be that stereotypical African-American father. I just refuse to be that. And I still work with that. You know, the conversations you got to have with your boys now, I got to have with my girls, especially, law enforcement and all that's going on out there, the conversations we got to have with our children. No, man, I just did not want to be that stereotype. And it was difficult at times, right? Because sometimes I think I overdid things because I just didn't want to be that guy. I don't think I'm conveying what I'm thinking.
It makes sense.
No, you got it. It makes perfect sense. I think it was the same because they put us in this box. They stereotype us. They make us feel like this is who we are, and we do more to prove that we're not that way. And I think it gets hard. It gets frustrating because you have to, like, it's like, why can't I just be a good dad? Like, why do I feel like I have to prove to the world that I'm a good dad just because I'm a Black male? Like, that makes absolutely no sense, you know. But yeah, it is our reality, but it still shouldn't be. And it does take a toll on us because, like you said, we overdo it at times because we just don't want, like, when it comes down to it, we just don't want our kids to be hurt and abused. We just don't. And so in order to protect them, we will overdo it in order to stop people from thinking, you know, like, I think that's one of the things that's like kind of pissed me off the most is my wife used to go, like, because I was at work and she used to go to the store with the guys. And people used to ask her, usually not Black people. It definitely wasn't Black people, but folks used to ask her, "Are those all your kids?"
Woo!
Lord.
And she would say, "Yeah, and they got the same daddy, too."
Right.
Like, but that's what we're fighting against.
Mhm.
That's exactly what we're fighting against. And I had somebody ask me that too. And I get sick and tired of someone, they looking at my guys and they're all like, they got muscles. Like I said, they bigger than me. And they go, "Oh, you got yourself a football team, don't you? You got yourself a basketball team, don't you?" I was like, "No, I got a lacrosse and a water polo player. Yet he plays basketball. This guy wants to be a Formula One racer. This is a paleontologist, and this guy's a musician." You know, and I've had those conversations with people. I was like, "No, they're all different, and they're not."
Also,
Like,
it's
they're
none of
not
your
just
business.
What'd you say, Letty?
none of your business.
By the way, it's none of your business.
None of your business.
None of your bizwax. Absolutely. No.
Fight against.
Yeah. Well, to your point, that was just, and I think that fear motivated me too, London and Leticia.
Man,
I didn't want that moniker of leaving them kids. There's another one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
it just bothers me, man. And because, again, unfortunately, many of our families are fragmented. Many of our families, that is the case. Many of our families, that is their reality. I just didn't want that for mine, bro. I just did not want that for mine.
So do you feel, and this example from Lennon, what you were saying earlier about taking on the responsibility of that tough discipline because you don't want them to experience additional pain or extra physical harm to themselves or be perceived in such a way. So you take that on yourself, right? You say, instead of, I'm assuming this is the case, I think a lot of parents do this, but we're talking about you two specifically, that you take that on and take care of it as much as you can in the home. And that's extra labor, right? Parenting labor.
Yeah.
Instead of having to figure that shit out there where I can't protect you, we're going to talk about this and it's going to be ingrained. We're going to discipline you. We're going to talk about this. It's going to be hard here at home so that it's easier, or I don't know if it's easier, but does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
Perfect sense.
Yes.
Extra layers from moms of, either all boys or all girls, and then also from you guys, all boys or all girls.
Yeah.
Sandra Bland, that scared the crud out of me. Yeah. Because I know, especially I got two daughters in particular.
Oh, shit.
You know what I'm saying? And I got two in particular.
No names.
I'm like, all right, we have to have the conversation. Now you behind this wheel, and I know you. I just need to get you home, baby. That's the way we have to put it, right? I just have to get you home, and we'll deal with it. But that really, even to this day, is, I don't want to say my biggest fear, but it's in the corner of my mind that some fool can do something crazy that would adversely affect my baby's life, because they will always be my babies, right? They will. Your boy's gonna always be your babies, right?
Always.
And when you have girls, it just hits different. And again, I don't have boys. It just hits different because that instinct is so wired within me, right? To provide and protect.
Yeah, that's something we tell our boys. I mean, especially dealing with young African American men getting pulled over, and we've seen what happens if they make the wrong move. And that's the one thing that we had to tell our sons, is that everybody is not like daddy and his friends when it comes to who you are, so just play by these rules so you can get home safe, and that was sad for them because, they grew up watching me do that job, and my close circle of friends that did the job with me are great people. And so when they knew that everybody's not like Uncle Jimmy or Uncle Paul or Uncle Kevin, or Uncle Philippe, like, Uncle Anthony, like my closest friends in the profession, like that was kind of eye-opening for them too. And so they realized this is why we have these conversations, because everybody's not out there trying to do the same and trying to do good for our people. So it was done in the home, and it was definitely exhausting, because you get the, why can't I do this? Well, why do they get to do this? And it's like, dude, that's their life. This ain't your life. I'm sorry.
Hard truths. Another thing that I feel maybe it has changed or is different, I don't know, you guys tell me. The conversations that fathers have with each other about how they're parenting, I don't know if these conversations happened previously, right? If my dad talked to his compadres about how they were raising their kids, I have no idea. Is that something that you feel either you are doing, feel like you should be doing, want to be doing, like having these kinds of conversations with other fathers?
That's a great question. Me and my roommate, who's also my fraternity brother, he calls me every now and then because I watched his kids grow up just like mine, and they're young adult, they're the same age, and now we're talking about this conversation. But when our babies were babies, I don't think we did. I think there's this quiet culture in the African American community that what goes on in this house stays in this house. And as men, you know, we're just trying to protect look after our nest. This is probably, oh my goodness, other than talking about this with my dad, and I had to say thank you when my girls got out of line. Oh, daddy, how'd you do it? Lord have mercy, right? This is I can probably count these conversations on two hands. I think it's cultural.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think it? Okay,
No.
so cultural, yes, but maybe also just in general, dads don't get together to have these kinds of meaningful, deeper conversations. You're not just like barbecuing and having a beer, like and sports. It's like
No.
sports.
No, we don't do this, Leticia.
No, we ain't doing it. No. I was trying, and I was sitting there thinking, I was like,
I'm
have
just
I
asking.
ever like have no.
Do you
No.
want to?
Uh,
Your faces are
know.
classic dad faces. That's perfect.
I'm gonna
Oh,
tell you what. I'm gonna tell you exactly what our kids would probably say. They would probably go, "Why y'all talking about us? Why?" And especially because it's us dads too. They be like, "Daddy, why are you talking to your friends about us?"
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see my girls
Yep.
saying the same
Hands
thing. I can see
down.
that.
Why?
I got one in particular that would ask that question. Yeah. Yeah.
Did it
Why?
ever seem like, I mean, did you ever think, I really wish I could have had this conversation with I mean, it's one thing to have it with your partner because they're in it with you. But she's going to go talk to her mom friends about it. So like, that's why I'm wondering if there wasn't those moments, what stopped you, or is it you just like suffer alone? Is it purely cultural? Is it like a gender bias kind of a thing? Like we're just instilled like this is what men do, this is what dads do. You don't talk, and not just like within the house, but men don't talk about these things. And why? I'm gonna keep poking at
You
it.
know, I don't know. Okay, I'll tell you what I do, and what I've noticed. So it's not like we get together as fathers and talk about our kids, but when my kids are around the fathers, my friends that are fathers that are close to me, they end up pulling them aside and are like in their world. So, you know, every time my friend Jimmy and Philippe, when they see the boys, first thing, hey, how's school going? How's your grades? You know, what you been up to? Like, what's happening? How you been? Like, tell me something. Like they're in their world, as those additional father figures, you know, that my boys really, really appreciate. We have my two oldest help out at the food pantry at our church, and the older brothers that are deacons, they are here with them, and they're speaking into their lives. They're like just really mentoring them and encouraging them. And it's like, I remember talking to one of the deacons, and he was like, yeah, me and Nolan, he told me he about to go to school and he had a girlfriend. And I was like, what Nolan is telling you this?
Surely not mine.
Yeah. But it's so cool to know that they have those men in their lives. And even though we as men don't talk about it, our children know who they can run to if they need help.
Excellent point. Yeah. I like that. So it is still like a village. It's just
It's that village. Yeah.
But nobody decided, nobody said, you know what? Okay, men, now that you've become fathers, you all have to keep track of each other's kids and make sure and then talk about it. It's like this just unspoken.
Yeah, and
Non-stop coaching, is that what it is?
And he's right, because if I saw one of my friend's sons, the village, getting out of pocket, I'm gonna say something. All right, now, boy, that's enough. You know your mom and daddy done taught you better than that. Straighten up, fly right, because
Yeah.
you know better than
Scare me a
this.
little bit.
Is that how we talk to him?
That's
Boy,
it,
you
right
know better
there.
than this. And I know you know better than this.
Yep,
Straighten up,
yep,
fly right. Then how you doing? Blah 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 blah. But
yep.
as men, do we have no? Not over the bourbon. No, we're not talking. Not over. No. We arguing Jordan LeBron stats. That's what we're doing.
I'm gonna go back and count how many times you guys said no.
I know, right?
No.
No, that's
No.
not happening.
That's interesting. I mean, that would be something to do differently because you want to encourage people to have these conversations if they want to have them. But then you're like, yeah, but don't call me. I'm not going to have that conversation. That's good for you.
No, it's not something we sit down and plan. If it happens, it
No.
just happens in general.
It's a
Somebody's
workshop.
going on with this, and then we move on to the next topic.
It's a
Yeah,
men's seminar. Like you specifically go there. To
no,
talk.
not at all. No,
that's another no you can count. No.
no, it's not that. No.
Oh,
not at
what? All right. I'm learning new things every day. Okay. We're almost at the hour mark, so I wanted to ask if there was any like imparting wisdom that you want to share, or something that you've learned about yourself in this, the last 20 something, almost 30 years for you, Keith, that you would want to share. That whole imparting wisdom thing. I don't know.
That's a great question.
I'm full of them.
I've learned to just love them.
Yeah.
Because they're human beings and they're gonna make errors, they're gonna make mistakes. And then I've also learned I can't have my expectations on my children. I was a musician. I went to college, went to Fresno State on a music scholarship. I played trumpet. And here's my trumpet,
Hey.
right? When all four of them successfully rejected a music career and decided not to play an instrument or anything, I was devastated. But I had to learn. That's not theirs, right?
Oh,
That's not theirs. But you love them anyway, right? And I'm still getting there. They may make a choice or make a decision that you may not necessarily, or have a belief, or may have a concept that I ain't teach you that. But you know what? I gotta love them anyway, and especially as they get older, they're no longer children. These are young adults, and I have to even love them even more now because the decisions that they make could be life and death. Who they choose as mates, that's my. Don't marry a fool. Don't marry anybody like me.
They're tricky. You guys are tricky though.
Yeah, don't marry anybody like me. So that's just love them. Like I said, when they all four of them successfully rejected the music, I was devastated, right? But I had to learn they had to find their own way. So even when they make choices and decisions that I may not necessarily agree with, especially at this age, you just nod and you say, all right, your daddy will be here.
Yeah.
If you need some help.
Love. All right. Landon.
No, Keith said it all. Like everything he said, I was like, oh, yep, that's it. And I think the only thing that I would add would be that what I told my boys is that you never have to live in my shadow. I think that's the thing, because what I noticed with them, they were trying to do stuff, and they were trying to go for careers that they felt was like equivalent to mine. Like, you went out there and you did all this stuff, and we should do this. We want to do this, and I was like, why? Like, why? Like, don't you never have to do that. Don't compare yourself to me at all. This was my path. You guys do what you want to do. I'm gonna be there to support you no matter what you choose to do. And I think that was something that they had to really see, that I really did not want them to follow after my footsteps. I really didn't. And I didn't need them putting their life their lives in danger just because their daddy did it. I didn't. So I think just being able for them to know that they don't have to live in my shadow, I think that has been something that's been really like kind of really just liberating for them, because they could go on and do what it is that they want to do. And then I'm back there. Like I tell them, I say, whatever you decide, I'm gonna be your biggest fan. I'm gonna be right there cheering you on,
So much love and support. I love it.
And I think
we ain't having no daddy meeting. So.
We ain't having no daddy meeting. That's right.
I think you had a meeting before you came on, and they're secret. They're secret meetings. That's what I think.
Secret meetings? They probably are.
You guys, oh my God. All right. Well, thank you so much. We're hitting the hour. I don't want to keep you guys much longer, and I appreciate everything that you've been able to share. I know this is not a common conversation, but I think it's important to have them every once in a while, to just be like, okay, this is what I did. This is what you did. This is how our kids turned out. Maybe the next generation of kids will have a better life than the one that we had. I mean,
and that's all we want for them.
Yes.
That's it. That's all we want.
That's all. Every dad, now maybe every's a bit much, but I would say the majority of dads want their children to have a better life than they have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's why London and I, we made those sacrifices. We pushed, and maybe to the extreme, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we went too far, right? But we want our children to have a better life. It's interesting when I'm able to help my daughter with a contact or make a phone call. I go, that's why daddy did all those things. She goes, Dad, I understand now. Call that person. Daddy, I got it. And that's as much as I want to help, the greatest ring that brings me to joy is when they say, Daddy, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me feel like I did my job.
Yeah, you did.
I did my job.
Yes.
See, you guys do want to have these conversations.
No,
Well, too bad, because I'm going to chop all this up and I'm going to keep posting it.
Not the daddy meetup. No.
Daddy meetup? That doesn't sound like, no, that's a different show. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Exactly.
I will talk to you again. Maybe who's coming on. You're throwing me off. I'm going to end this conversation, and then we'll join you guys again for next week. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Have a good evening.
All right.